Alliance for the Brave, a program that advocates for our active military, veterans, and first responders. Presented by Peer Services Web Design. Alliance for the Brave, serving and empowering those who serve our great country in the line of duty. Tune in, join in, and plug in with us around the globe. Welcome to Alliance for the Brave.
In the air everywhere across America, you're listening to Alliance for the Brave, where we bring education, information, and communication to today's veterans, active duty military, American patriots, and boy, let me tell you, we are always on the side of first responders, especially our medical professionals. Speaking of a great guy, which I haven't yet, but I will, I'd like to introduce you to London Mason, my partner.
Don't give me that one, Jim.
Hey, better known as Boom Boom.
Good morning, sir.
Field Artillery.
Boom!
Yeah, I got to tell you, he brings a whole lot of charge to life.
And you'll always tell me that you guys have the biggest guns.
Well, we do.
Okay,
we do.
I'll let you have that.
All right. Guys, one of the things is we're veterans. We talk about our time in the military. But one of the most important things that ever happened when I was in the military was mail call. And I got to tell you, we've got a beautiful guest coming on this morning, calling in all the way from Pennsylvania, and she is very special. Welcome, Miss Trish Shallenberger with a soldier's hand. Trish, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning
Thank you
to
for
you.
having me on.
Oh, we're excited. You know, you're a frequent visitor to Dallas, so next time you're here, come on by.
You bet. I will. I absolutely will.
Trish, tell us a little bit about your background and what you were doing that got you into serving our veterans.
Sure. So thank you for the opportunity. So I am a mom of 4 kids. I was in Dallas, Texas, going to a Mary Kay conference, which I know you guys know all about that, coming from Dallas. And I was just literally trying to come home. And that particular day, there were storms going through the area. And so the airport just shut down. So what was happening is all the flights are being delayed, and then the standby lines were increasing. So they even asked if I would be willing to give up my seat, and I really needed to get home. And also, sometime during that week, I had changed my seat on the flight, and I had moved just a few rows forward. When we finally boarded this flight, it was about 3.5 hours delayed. On an overbooked flight, there's one empty seat, and it's next to me. So I'm by the window, the middle seat is empty, and next to me is a young man that reminded me of Opie. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Fair. He was freckled, really short hair. He had great manners. You know, he said, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. So I thought, well, you know, he's probably from the South or maybe he's in the military. Well, he was both. But because that middle seat was empty, we had the opportunity to talk. And it struck me, why is this seat empty? And that question would be answered in the years to come. And so we put ourselves in the middle seat. As a mom, I noticed that his hands were a mess. So the tops were really sunburned, and his palms had like quarter-size welts on them, and it looked incredibly painful. And so I gave him hand cream, Mary Kay hand cream, of course, and he was so appreciative. But we talked, and he shared that those hands came from training at Fort Hood. They were trying to get acclimated to the heat because he was on his way to Iraq. And he shared that, you know, he was a student at Auburn University. He'd been pulled out. His number had been called. And he said, you know, I'm as prepared as I can as a 19-year-old. He said, I'm a Christian. He said, I'm not afraid of dying, but what I'm really afraid is the sun. And he holds up his hands and he said, I can't handle Texas. How am I going to handle Iraq? And so I said immediately, I can take care of you. You know, he could have been my son, and I thought, I can take care of his skin. And the reason you and I are speaking today is his response. And that was, he said, I appreciate that. He said, but I cannot accept something from you knowing that not everyone's going to get a mail call. It hit me like a ton of bricks, and I thought, what do you mean not everyone's going to get a mail call? And he said, not everyone has someone at home that's going to send them something. So I said, well, let's send it to your whole unit. How many's in your unit? And he said 177. And I thought, oh my goodness, you know, what have I done? that was a big number. And I said to him, Mark, I don't know how this is going to happen. I said, but you can count on me, and I will make sure that everyone in your unit receives a mail call. And so that's how A Soldier's Hand started. That was August 1st, 2007.
That's quite a huge door that you opened, Trish.
It really is. And Trish, one of the things, if we could, because I'd like to set, now that we've told the story in the introduction, let's go back and fill in. One of the things a lot of people don't know is, what is Mary Kay? Who was Mary Kay Ash? But what was the underlying thing about that company? Because it permeated the entire company, and it was making women successful and lifting people up. There was a culture within that company that really, really reached out and raised awareness and lifted people up. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you learned from Mary Kay?
Sure. So the motto is her company was enriching women's lives. And that happens in various ways. So it enriched my life to be able to serve Mark. It's giving women, and now men, quite frankly, the opportunity to have their own business. And that's what was appealing to me, is I actually had 2 young children, and I was pregnant with our third when I decided that I wanted to do Mary Kay. And it allowed me to still be a stay-at-home mom, which was my priority, but also allowed me to have a business that was something that was my own. And so and the business was founded on 2 principles. One is God first, then your family, and then your business. This is in 1963 that those principles were put into place. And then the golden rule, right? Treat people how you want to be treated. And that came into play when I sat next to Mark, and I thought, oh my goodness, if this was my son, what would I want some stranger to do? And that would be to take care of him.
And that's the permeating thing that I have observed about people who join that organization, and they learn that you're not afraid to talk to somebody. There are a lot of people that I know, if they sit next to somebody on an airplane, they just try and go to sleep. You know, don't bother me. I don't want to talk to you. But you engage this young man, and that was terrific. So that was the start of A Soldier's Hand. So how did you come about getting 177 care packages going that would be able to take care of that group of soldiers?
So if I can backtrack, you said, most people would go to sleep. Well, Mark told me years later, he said that's all he wanted to do.
Yeah,
I've been on a few of those flights,
That one, yeah.
Right, he was exhausted. He'd just come off like a 20-hour day, and he said, but I just kept peppering him with questions, and I was nice, and he didn't have the heart to say, I really just want to go to sleep. And so he engaged, and then came the 177. And so when I got home from that trip, I literally told everybody I knew, anybody that would listen to me, that I have made a commitment to this young man,
Wow.
and you have to help me fulfill my promise.
Yeah. Trish, I got
And
a question.
so,
Oh, go ahead.
yes, sir.
Yeah. So, were you ever able to reconnect with Mark? Mark is his name.
Yes.
Were
Oh,
you
yes.
ever? Yeah. Were you ever able? And what was that like?
So that was amazing. So I don't come from a military background like you guys. So all of this I've had to learn. So they took off from Fort Dix, New Jersey. That's where their unit left from, and so they came back there. And when they came back to Fort Dix in April of 2008, they invited our family to join them in their welcome home visit, or welcome home. I don't know what you would call that. Anyway, we were the only civilians there to this event. And his members of his unit, they stood in line thanking our family for supporting them. And I was like, no, we need to be standing in line thanking you. Thanking you for your service. But they were touched. They were touched that everyone within that unit was acknowledged. They were accounted for. And Mark had shared with me, he said, you have to know, so those packages arrived on Thanksgiving Day.
Wow.
Or they were opened on Thanksgiving Day. Let me put it that way. We learned in the years to come that was the only day they took off that year was Thanksgiving. And so they took that day to open up the care packages. And Mark emailed me and he said, you have to know that there are grown men crying. He said, because they hadn't received a mail call yet.
I
And
got
they
to
left
tell you,
home
in Vietnam, I was on aircraft carriers, and basically that mail call was the most important thing. And our mail would come from the San Francisco FBO to the Philippines and fly out to the ship. And man, I mean to tell you, that was a big deal to get a letter from home, much less a care package. In London,
Oh yeah.
same thing, right?
Being in Desert Storm and 2 Iraq tours, definitely the first 2 deployments that I had, receiving that first letter from home, that first gift or whatever you're receiving.
Yeah.
That is an overwhelming experience because it tells you that somebody loves you, that somebody's thinking about you, that somebody cares about you, so.
My mother was a baker, so one year I got because I made 3 tours. I got this care package and I opened it up, and it was like a big cake tin, and it was all sealed up. And I opened that thing, and Mother had made a cake and must have poured a half a bottle of rum on it, because when I opened that tin, I was the most popular dude in that whole ship, man. Let me tell you, here they all came. I think I got one small piece out of that thing, but I shared it with everybody. It's not about the cake, and it's not about the hand lotion or the sunscreen or anything else. It's about knowing somebody cares. And you can't understand what that's like, Trish, till you're half a world away. And back in Vietnam, we didn't have the internet. If we watched a movie, it was an old movie. So I tell you what, we're going to be talking more about mail call and how you can join a soldier's hand. Man, that's a hard thing to say. All right, somebody go. Somebody go get me a cup of coffee. We're going to need all that we can get. So we're talking with Trish Shallenberger. Absolutely, you must be one of the most beautiful ladies with a heart of gold. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about mail call and how you can join a soldier's hand to help them bring 50,000 care packages to our service men and women. This is Jim Blythe in London Mason with Miss Trish Shallenberger. We'll be right back after these words from all of our partners. You're listening to Alliance for the Brave. Trish, we're talking on Facebook. So Facebook, thank you very much. If you want to know about A Soldier's Hand, it's pretty easy to find on the internet. Trish, tell them for Facebook what your internet website is.
That's it. It's just asoldiershand.org.
Yeah,
and same thing on Facebook.
And it's plural. That's where I fouled up a couple of times. It's hands, It's sorry about that, Hey, I got to tell you, this is a really, really great story, and I think as we lead into this, it'd be great for you to really say, hey, I need more help, promote. We'll give out the website on the air, because especially this is being rebroadcast across the nation. There's going to be somebody who has a soldier, sailor, Marine, airman, or coastie that could use that letter, could use that package. And we really want people to know we care about them, right, London? Without a doubt. They're switching out. So Facebook, if you're watching all that's going on, this is Chris O'Sullivan, better known as Chris, who is changing out a microphone. And everybody on Facebook, you got to know this is a real live radio show. Things happen.
Like what, Jim?
Microphones go south,
They
brother.
go south. They really do. It's just no good.
Yeah, well, that's why you're the best in fixing them.
No, we just need a telethon for new equipment.
Oh. Okay, well, right now,
remember
let's
those.
do it. Yeah, let's do a telethon for Chris. Now, Chris, one of the things before we go back on the air, on your website, it says a mail call, please help us send 50,000 letters to our troops in Germany. And I think that's an incredible idea. Let's talk about that. And what can you put in the letter? I think we can put all kinds of wonderful things in the letters.
Yes. Thank you. I'd love to talk about that.
All right. So we're going to be back on the air in about a minute and a half. I hope you're enjoying this.
Me? Oh my goodness! You guys are fun, and you know what I know is that when this story is told, something great happens, and I don't know what that will be, and I don't know when it will be, but my faith says that it always happens. So something great will happen. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, let me tell you, something great always happens when we go on the air because we've been doing this. We're going into our 6th plus year, and now we're broadcasting nationwide. So we want to say a special thank you, not just to Facebook and the internet, but thank you in Robin Valtudo, in Norfolk, Virginia, and Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you to the USA Radio Network across the nation, the AUN Network. I'm got to tell you, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
And when you get a phone call or an email from some guy in Jacksonville named Joe, I got to tell you, you got friends, mighty friends in many places.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to be back on the air in just a second. So here we go.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'm ready.
You're listening to Alliance for the Brave, honoring, serving, and empowering those who serve our great country in the line of duty. Today's program is presented by Gear Services Web Design. Learn more about our mission and how you can plug in with us at allianceforthebrave.com. Now, back to the conversation.
Well, welcome back, and you're on board with Alliance for the Brave. Let me tell you, I love to smile. I love to get up in the morning. And London, this conversation with this lady has brought a smile to my face.
That's right.
It's brought back so many great memories of mail call when we were overseas.
The thing about that is that I can remember sitting on the plane, first time, uniform on, dress uniform. I love what she's doing. I love it, Trish.
I think it's great, and God bless you. And I wish there'd been a lot more around when like you when I came out of Vietnam. So Trish, let's talk about on your website. You want to do a mail call for 50,000 letters to our troops in Germany. Tell us a little bit about that. How do you want to do that? What do you want?
We do. So I had shared with you that this whole story is just filled with a bunch of God winks, right? So we're writing a book to document those and to share those. And in that conversation, we learned that we have 50,000 troops serving in Germany, which I'll be honest, I didn't realize we had that many. And the lady said, yeah, and they really don't get many mail calls because people are just not aware and they're not aware of the volume of people there. And I thought, well, we can do something about that. So our goal is to send each one a handwritten letter as well as a star that comes from a retired flag. Are you familiar with that program?
I have heard of it. I'm not terribly familiar with it, but that sounds great.
Yeah.
You're
So
getting
what
a
we
star
do-
from the star, namely Trish.
Oh my goodness! So we are getting retired flags. We cut out the star. We put it in a plastic bag with a note that says something to the effect of, "I came from an American flag. I can no longer fly because the sun and wind have caused me to come torn and tattered. Please carry this as a reminder that you're not forgotten."
Wow.
So that is going to go in an envelope with a handwritten letter from someone in this country. And so 50,000 is a lot. And so what we did is we tried to narrow it down, and we thought if we can get captains in every state, that 10 captains in each of our 50 states, and each captain would be responsible for 100 letters, that would be 50,000 letters.
Yeah.
Well, London, let's you and I be co-cap. Actually,
Let's do it.
Yeah. Now, I'm enlisted. You're enlisted, but I'm also a Navy commander in the Texas Navy. So for $37.50, I got to be a commander.
Nice.
So let's
Nice.
okay, the commander and the captain, we will try and help you. Not
That is
try.
nice.
We will work on getting more than 100 letters. And I think it'd be really cool if in doing these letters, if you remember something from your military background, if you're one of our listeners. Now, Trish, how are they going to send this letter and where do they send it to?
So if they go to our website, they will get more information about that and where to send it. They can also send me an email, and then I can give you all the details in one spot. But basically, they're going to send them to me in Pennsylvania.
Okay. All right.
And then we're going to gather them all, add the star to it, and then ship it all out in one shipment.
Oh,
So
wow.
that everyone is accounted for at one time.
Well, you better warn the FPO because that's gonna be something. But that's a great idea.
It is.
Now, is there anything? I mean, within this, would we know the service member we're writing to? Will we know their name?
You will not know their name.
Okay.
So you can address it to dear hero, dear patriot,
Okay.
dear friend, I don't, some people say, what do we write? You know what? Speak from your heart. We can't go wrong if we just speak from our heart.
I got to tell you, there's a whole lot. And knowing as many veterans, we've got 450,000 veterans right here in North Texas, second fastest growing group in the United States. So I'm reaching out to all my brothers and sisters here saying, let's go to a soldier's hands, correct, Trish?
Yes, sir.
All right, and let's get this going. Well, Trish, I'd like for you to stay with us as we continue the conversation about a soldier's hands, but mostly about mail call and bringing hope. Because right now, we've got an epidemic in this country, and we want to bring hope to everyone. So this is Jim Blythe and London Mason with the wonderful Miss Trish Shallenberger from A Soldier's Hands. We're here for you. You're listening to Alliance for the Brave.
Yes, sir.
I feel like we just haven't covered enough, and we should go back and talk about these 50,000 letters. And then also what I would like to do is talk about some of these other things that you can do, bringing people together, packaging parties, festival booths, and more. You know, we got a lot of really wonderful fall festivals. My wife is showing me some. Do what?
You didn't say .org on a soldier's hands. So
Okay.
make sure and do that in the next segment.
Great.
She didn't tell her email address, and I think that's a point of contact. The more point of contact they have,
Okay.
the more they.
Okay.
That was my beautiful wife, who's our social media director.
Good morning.
And she is the captain of my ship. Trust me.
Keeps it all afloat.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to say. So let's go back then when we come back on the air. We're going to have about a 15, 16-minute segment and talk about the importance of mail call, the importance of these letters. Now, do you also still do care packages?
We do. So we're currently working on one right now. That's 1,000.
Okay.
1,000 members they are serving in Qatar. So, Qatar rather, excuse me. And yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that, and let's talk about, if you're a captain, how can you group a group together to do some of these packaging parties, festival booths? You know, one of the things, we got a lot of wonderful fall festivals starting off right now. State Fair of Texas, they've erected big techs.
Yeah.
And we've got a wine festival going up in Grapevine. And so I think it's important maybe that people know, hey, we can start getting people together, because one of the most important things, and Trish, you said they open those packages on Thanksgiving Day. Do you have any idea what it's like to be away from your family, half a world away? You're constantly vigilant. You're with your brothers and sisters, but you're not with your family. And you're not at home. And let me tell you something, that gets to you.
Yeah.
It has to.
Yeah, and it you know, in a sense, the people that you're there with, and I can attest, Jim can attest, that, you know, I can remember when you said Thanksgiving, I remember my Thanksgiving in my first Iraq tour. It was horrible, but yet it was comforting because I had allies. I had friends. I had my brothers and sisters that served with me, that we could all come together. We had a meal, you know, and all those great things. And even though we were away from home, we were still at home, or made to feel as if we were at home. So it was that kind of weird feeling that no one else will get. You know, unless you were in the service.
Unless you were there. Yeah, you know, one of the big things I remember is I love to cook. I really do. And I did. And there's just something about the comfort of food. And there's a heck of a difference from sitting at the family table with a plate and sitting at a table with a stainless steel tray. I don't know how they managed to.
They upgraded that.
Yeah, I don't know how they managed to do it, but
Yeah.
everything we ate tastes like stainless steel. And
Well, I think, you know, Jim, to be honest, I think that's why they upgraded.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think the steel, believe it or not, I think that would get into your food. To be honest, you know,
I don't doubt that,
Yeah.
because they used to
so,
clean them with Brillo pads.
Yeah.
Good. All right, here we go. We're going to be back on the air.
Today's program is brought to you by Gear Services Web Design. Visit us on Facebook or online at allianceforthebrave.com. And now, back to Alliance for the Brave.
Well, thank you for being on board with us. London Mason and Jim Blythe with the beautiful Miss Trish Shallenberger, talking about a soldier's hands, really talking about mail call, reaching out to our brothers and sisters, active duty military overseas. Each of us that serve know what it's like when mail call comes and you get something. We also know what it's like when mail call comes and you don't get anything. So what we are going to do is help Trish get 50,000 letters to our troops in Germany. So, Trish, tell people, how can they sign up? Where can they go? Tell them the email, and if you want to give them your personal email contact so people can email you, please give that out.
Absolutely. So if you go on the website, it's asoldiershands.org. There is a place where it talks about mail call for all, and then you can sign up to be a state captain. So when you're signing up to be a state captain, you're acknowledging that you're going to get 100 letters from somewhere. So that could be your church community, school, Girl Scouts, senior centers, anywhere, but you're just saying, I will take care of 100 letters. My email is trish@asoldiershands.org.
All right.
And if you email me with questions.
Yeah, I want to make a point real quick. Let me jump in here because fat fingers here foul this one up. It's soldiers, SOLDEIR, but it's plural. Soldiers, hands, plural with a S. If you don't put the S on it, it'll bounce back, and you go, how did I screw that one up? All right, Trish, we want people to jump in. We want people to help us. This is really important. But what are some of the other ways that we can come together as teams and do things?
So, so go on our Facebook page and like our page and share that with other people. Share our, there's lots of videos out there that we've done, and share with your community what it is that we are trying to do. And so they can have writing parties. They can, if they're at a fair, like you talked about, put a little tin out and gather dollars, because dollars add up, to be able to do this. So even though we're sending letters and we're sending stars, shipping has really increased in terms of getting these over to Germany. So make a financial donation. That can be done on the website as well.
Yeah, if you go to the website, there is a donate. And again, it costs money to ship things, but also they're going to be sending out care packages. You're working on a care package of 1,000 right now. Trish, did you tell me that?
Yes. So this unit is out of Dover, Delaware, the Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
They are in Qatar right now. They have been working with all this Afghanistan craziness, and so our goal is to send 1,000 care packages by the end of October to them. So each care package costs about $18, and that is just covering expenses. So now, there's not a salary involved in this. This is taking care of the men and women that take care of us.
What goes in the care package?
So we've actually partnered with a couple of different companies, not Mary Kay, but send Badger Balm, like a hand balm, and sunscreen, and then O'Keeffe's lip balm, a lip protector. We send candy, because they all love candy. Mm-hmm. A handwritten letter. We send a star, and then it gets individually wrapped. So when we ship something, we find out how many people are in that unit, because we don't want even one to fall through the cracks. Mm-hmm. And so we individually wrap it. So if they're not at base, or they're not exactly where, when that shipment comes in and they're not there, there's still going to be one left for them when they get there.
So if you're in Norfolk, or you're in Jacksonville, or you're in Phoenix, or you're in Iowa, or you're in San Antonio, you can go to A Soldier's Hands, and you can find out how you can donate, how you can get involved, and how you can do something. So what do you do if you've got a family overseas? I think you can participate in seeing, not only does your family get a care package, but you want to see to it that others, and I really would like to see if I could talk anybody who likes to bake into making cookies and rum cakes and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they started doing stuff like that when I was, especially in my second deployment, when things kind of got, I wouldn't say relaxed, but, different service members would receive, baked goods and
Girl Scout cookies,
yeah,
snickerdoodles,
great stuff. I mean, it's and that's why I said it makes you somewhat feel at home when you're not at home. So it's okay when you're receiving stuff like what Trish is doing. That is an awesome thing that you're doing, and I greatly appreciate what you're doing.
Here's one of the things, Trish, that London and I have learned from working with this radio program for 6+ years. And I want a special thank you to Robin Valtudo for asking me to join and do this when we started it. But it's giving hope to people. And there are a lot of veterans who have gone through a lot and they isolate, but they can remember what it was like to have mail call, and they could participate and get with other brothers and sisters and do something that reminds them of how they felt when they got it. What do you think of that one?
I mean,
I love
I
love that.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and that is what we offer is hope and acknowledgement, because we all want to be acknowledged in some way. And I remember getting a letter from a gentleman who served in Vietnam, and he said he made a donation to us, and then he said, I only wish that there was something like this when I was serving in Vietnam. And he wasn't angry, he was acknowledging that he didn't have that.
Yeah.
And what a difference that could have made to him.
Trish, we had such terrible turmoil in this country, and I got to tell you, I don't think there were very, very many people who served in Vietnam who wanted to be there. But the way we got treated and the way we were ignored, and if anything, we needed hope and help, and we would see these film deals of what was going on in the United States, and you talk about heartbreaking, and then to come home and be treated that way. We needed something like this. And for me as a Vietnam veteran, boy, I want to jump in and I want to write 100 letters myself, because I think it would have made a huge difference. Yes, my mom and dad sent me care packages and sent me letters, and my grandparents, my grandfather had been career Navy, and I got to tell you, it meant a lot. And I know what that does for people. So again, we want people to go to a soldier's hands, plural. Man, I keep fouling that one
Trish,
up.
you notice how he accents hands.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you how we got that name?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, this was never going to be a nonprofit. This was never going to be anything other than serving Mark. But then people would say, I hear you send care packages to the troops. And then it snowballed. So we were working on a unit of 800, and we still weren't a nonprofit. And my friend said, I think we need to name this thing. And I said, okay. She said, what about a soldier's hands? And I said, okay. And that was the end of the conversation, because it started with Mark's hands.
Yeah.
So we didn't put a lot of thought into the fact that it's hard to say. So I'm sorry about that.
I got to tell you. Well, it's a good thing that you weren't talking about Vietnam and jungle rot, because I can just see, a soldier's foot, and you guys are sending, disinfectant socks, because there was a lot of need for that.
Yeah.
You're funny.
But it's so interesting, Trish, in how you're reaching so many people. That connection with the commanders that you guys are doing. That service members follow their superiors, and it's going to be so easy for them to do that, because they wouldn't even really need the commander to tell them to do it. but they're just going to do it, if you understand what I'm saying, because it's
Yeah.
just going to be so much help and wanting to help and wanting to put forth the effort to be able to support all of our service members, and that's the key to it all.
Well, I want to segue and make a point. In London, you're going to help me with this. And Trish, what I want to make a point is September is Mental Health Month for the Veterans Administration Healthcare. September is also suicide prevention. In London, that's part of what you work on is suicide prevention by being one of the people on the suicide hotline.
Yeah.
It's important that we give hope. It's important that we remember the good thing, especially as we're moving towards the holidays. We don't want Halloween to be really frightening because you're all by yourself. We want you to participate. So go into an organization like A Soldier's Hands.
Yeah.
You're reaching out to your fellow brothers and sisters, and you don't want them to feel left behind.
Yeah.
You don't want them to feel hopeless. So by you getting involved, you're not isolating. And I think this is important.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that, London?
Yeah, because and I'm glad that you said that and segued into that. Being peer support and being able to assist our veterans and their family members, as best as we can, to be able to show them what they, or at least coach them on where they can go in their lives. And so, the Veterans Crisis Line is always a great thing to start with. 1-800-273-8255 and press 1 for veterans. You can also text that 838-255. And there's just so many services out there that you can use.
And I think it's important. One of the biggest things we see, and I'm coming back to this point, is many times men and women, especially women, have gone through a lot and they isolate. They isolate and they don't get out and they don't participate. I'll tell you a quick funny story, Trish. A guy by the name of Jim Dolan, who was a great friend of mine, started a group called Heroes on the Water. And Diane and I went, and here was this beautiful lake behind the Frito-Lay headquarters, and we were watching, and here was this guy in a kayak, pretty good-sized guy, and all of a sudden he's laughing. What we found out real quick was he had hooked a 9-pound catfish, and it was dragging him all over the lake in this kayak. And he's laughing, and everybody around him is laughing. Then they're out there together sharing, and they're laughing and cutting up. And I happened to be standing close enough to Jim Dolan that his wife walked up. The guy that caught the fish walked up to Jim and said he hadn't been out of the house in 2 years. He hasn't smiled in years. He hasn't participated in years. And I literally had to threaten him with divorce to get him out of the house to come. And that guy went on to be very active in Heroes on the Water. I think it's important that you're offering something that you don't have to get on the water. You don't have to jump out of a perfectly good kayak. You don't have to do anything other than write a letter. Anybody can do that. And so if you're a Korean War veteran, if you're a Vietnam veteran, if you're a World War II veteran, and we know a few here in Dallas, take a look at A Soldier's Hands and write a letter. And again, you want to go to that website. Yeah, London? All right, we're going to be going to a break, and then we'll be right back with Miss Trish Shallenberger talking about A Soldier's Hands, how you can participate, how you can get involved, how you can help a brother or sister who's overseas. Specifically, we want to raise 50,000 letters to go to Germany, and we want to raise the money to send those 50,000 letters. So again, go to A Soldier's Hands, plural. Yeah. If you knew how many emails I had bounced back from Trish, you'd know why. I figured out. I forgot the S. So here we go. We're going to be right back after these words from all of our partners. You're listening to Alliance for the Brave with Jim in London and the beautiful Miss Trish Shallenberger of A Soldier's Hands. This is Alliance for the Brave.
hands.
Yeah. I kid you not. Somewhere there is an email post box that's full of the wrong emails.
if it's Jim doing it.
Yeah. So it would help if I put my glasses on when I type sometimes,
It probably would. Maybe. Just maybe.
Now, Trish, how old are your kids now?
So let's see, they are 23, 21, 18, and 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great ages. Now, are your older one in college, or are they in the military? They're looking?
So we have, our oldest is a nurse. She is a nurse in Pittsburgh. And the other two are at Penn State. And the youngest is in 10th grade.
Oh, wow. Diane, my beautiful wife, has got a son that lives in Philadelphia, and he went to Princeton. And
oh, wow.
We love going back there. And what's the name of that downtown Philadelphia, that market that's so great? We love to go to and get the...
Oh, Reading Terminal Market?
Yeah. Hello.
Is it a delicacy?
No, I mean, it is a huge market with all kinds of vendors.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
Like whatever you want to eat. If you want Mexican and someone else wants Chinese or Japanese or whatever you want, you're going to be able to find it at that market.
Yeah, but not Mexican. I mean, really, come on. You got to come to Texas. You come here. I got to tell you. You and your husband come back here for a Mary Kay conference. We're going to take you guys out. We'll take you for a little boot scooting and a little, little country western.
Scooting.
Yeah.
Is that dancing?
Yes. Oh, man. I'll have to get my son to teach you the Texas two-step.
Oh, my goodness.
Nice.
Because we have a lot of fun.
Are you from Texas, too?
Oh.
Actually, Trish, I'm originally from Augusta, Georgia, James Brown town. But but I retired in Fort Hood back in 2015 and started a career with the VA a few years later and doing peer support and just helping our veterans and family members. So I love doing it. And just what you're doing is an inspiration, a continued inspiration.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Mark works at the VA in Oregon.
Oh, wow.
They call him the blood whisperer. So if anybody has to get blood, they go to him because he's so gentle they don't even know they've been pricked.
Oh.
Boy, I got to tell you, I've had only one or two of those, and gosh, though, do you remember when we had to get the overseas shots, London?
Gosh.
And they use those air guns, and
Lining
you're like,
up and
yeah.
shoot you in both shoulders.
Oh, let me tell you, I'll tell you what, I'll take the COVID vaccine all day long. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I could have ever gotten anything because you had bubonic plague, malaria, typhus, typhoid, diphtheria.
Let's not do it.
Oh, no.
Let's not ruin it.
Yeah. Man, I got to tell you, hey, we got to do this and we got to do that. I can't lift my arms. Are you kidding?
Exactly.
All right, here we go.
All right, Chris.
Shot talk.
All right, here we go.
Listening to Alliance for the Brave, honoring, serving, and empowering those who serve our great country in the line of duty. Today's program is presented by Gear Services Web Design. Learn more about our mission and how you can plug in with us at allianceforthebrave.com. Now, back to the conversation.
Well, welcome back, and I'm about to bring this ship of a program into the dock. I want to say a special thank you to my wife Diane doing the social media. I want to say a special thank you to Chris O'Sullivan for all that you do and keeping us on the air, and to Robin Valtudo. Now, I also want to reach out to a new member of our team, Fred McKinnon. Fred, you're back there in Norfolk. I got to tell you, what a welcome team member. This guy is so funny. Check him out. It'll be on the website. He teaches comedy. You know, how do I know he's funny? Because I had him on the air.
Yeah.
I still want to know what he did with the puppy, though, the VA gave him. That's an inside joke. So, Trish, I want to say thank you so very, very, very much for being on board with us today and talking about A Soldier's Hands and how we can reach out to our brothers and sisters overseas.
Thank you. So, you know what? Go to our website, at soldiershands.org. Everything you want to know will be there, or you can shoot me an email from that website. And what we have learned through this process is that I think people want to be involved. I think people want to contribute. They may not want to head something up. You know, they don't want to be the leader, but we can all contribute. And I believe if you make it easy enough and show people the way, then they will help, and then in the process they receive in the doing.
That's it. So what would you say to a young man or woman, or to a person who says, gee, I want to get involved, I want to start something, I have an idea, I want to do something very quickly? What would you say to that person? Because we got only a couple of minutes.
Go for it. You know, go for it. See where it takes you. Have the faith that you can do it. You don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to know the how. But I think if you have the passion, you have the integrity, and you have the work ethic, go for it.
Well, not everybody can enlist to serve, but boy, we can all serve the enlisted. I think a beautiful lady made that quote, and I'm borrowing it.
You do that.
Pointing it.
You do. You may have it. You may have it.
Oh,
So,
well,
Jim,
thank you.
I attended Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. That's where I graduated from.
Oh, I love Norfolk. I love San Diego. I love any Navy town because, man, everybody beats Navy. Well, Trish, let's close with a prayer. London, oh, Lord Jesus, we thank you for our active duty military who are serving throughout the world. Guide them, protect them, put your hedge of protection around them, and lift them up and give them hope. And thank you, Trish Shallenberger, for A Soldier's Hands that blesses them with mail call. One of the most important things that they can hear from is a word from home. We want you to say, oh, God, thank you. We want to say thank you for all you do for us. This we pray in Christ's name today. Amen. Trish,
Amen.
What a wonderful opportunity it's been to have you on board, and let's do it again. And when you guys come to Dallas for the Mary Kay Convention, please give us a call.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us
Thank you.
on Alliance for the Brave. We are your station. We are your program for active duty military veterans and all of the patriots.
Barely even 18, not sure what lies in store. A small town girl with dreams of moving on. Graduate on Friday, basic training in the fall.